Alrighty, hello everyone, and welcome back once again to Redlock. We're here for the last match of the weekend and a loser's bracket match at that. Both these players face elimination in top 8, with the prize being a ticket to the finals weekend and the top 6. I'm Dio. I'm joined by Lily for our last match of the semifinals.
Yeah, it's an exciting one. I'm pretty pumped for this matchup here. Both these two players had to do a lot of work to get to this point. Azer coming in at seed 7 this year, and Rupertion at seed 8, and both of them beating out a couple of difficult opponents. Rupertion had to play against Pink Fan in their previous match in the semifinals, and Azer, I believe it was versus Marwin, and a lot of crazy scores from both of these players on different maps, so I'm really excited for this one. I do think it's going to be a little bit of a bloodbath between these two players, but we'll see how it goes.
Yeah, I think the first couple of maps are probably going to start out pretty one-sided, with Rupertion, Frankie here, having a massive advantage on speed, Azer having a massive advantage on reading and hidden gimmick. Interestingly, it's going to be DT4 as the first pick for Azer. I was kind of assuming it was just going to be Shadow Castle based off of previous scores, but instead the DT4 comes out, and as the players are discussing, massive shocker for the bans. I mean, Azer banning speed and Rupertion banning reading, just shocking stuff, really. I don't know how you could have predicted that. But the DT4, I think, is a little interesting. It is a very aim control focused map. It is super high circle size precision at CS 7.6, AR 9.9 as well, on the low side of AR 9.9. But it's a very tricky kind of weird flow control map with double time and high circle size, which is definitely something that works for Azer. Just would have expected Shadow Castle first, but by no means is this a weird pick overall.
Yeah, definitely a pretty spicy first pick here. I agree the Shadow Castle does look enticing, just given how Azer did yesterday's match. It dropped like 850k or something on the map, and just looking at Rupertion scores, or excuse me, it's 740k. It's still pretty impressive. Rupertion actually put up a pretty solid score, almost 500k on that map, so Azer maybe potentially feeling a little bit more comfortable on this as a first pick, and we saw him pick that hidden fort as, I think it was his third pick into the match versus Wandario yesterday. So yeah, gonna start this one off though. As you said, it's precision, and in the double time pool, precision is pretty tough, especially CS 7.6. These players are struggling a fair bit, but it's pretty even for the most part.
Pretty even, but it is slight advantage to Rupertion off of the accuracy and a little bit of a consistent combo lead here. Azer right now the best score on this DT4 at 485k. Rupertion right now number 4 of 6 at 312k. But that's looking like it's going to change after this. There is a miss for Rupertion just about halfway through. The act evened out now, slightly in favor of Rupertion, but within a 1/10 of a percentile. And Azer holding a pretty big combo lead. Now with a score lead as well, just a slim one at the moment, as we get into about the last third of this map. And big combo lead still held for Azer, about 260 combo there, but combo built back up for Rupertion. So this score lead really is dependent on Azer holding this combo into the last quarter of the map.
Rupertion is doing really good to get that combo back, but as I say that, he does unfortunately find a miss. And it's going to give even more of that advantage towards Azer. Going into the last quarter of the map, it's starting to get a little bit out of control here for Frankie. 100,000 points in favor of Azer. Does finally end up dropping that combo, but so much damage has already been done. Now we're going to even things back out a little bit, and it's going to be 100,000 points. I think this is too much for Rupertion to get back.
Yeah, very solid first pick here from Azer, and no, it's going to be a better score for Rupertion, but it's also going to be a bit of a better score here for Azer. So new top score of the weekend for him. at 490k, just slightly better than his previous score. 385k for Rupertion, some solid improvement on this, but not going to be enough to beat out Azer. And now we move into Rupertion's first pick, which I feel like, surprise, surprise, is going to be a speed map or some kind of tapping map. DT2 Hard Rock 3 left in the pool, as well as Hidden 3, actually, are 3 more tapping-focused maps that are left up in the pool. Image Material, Invitation from Dreamland, and Enigma Helix. I feel like Azer has the best chance on the Hard Rock. Actually, honestly, the Hidden 3 is very good for him as well. None of those are really pure speed, so Rupertion instead just going with Nomad 1. Some skill cap consistency aim in the Nomad pool.
I'm not completely sold on this as a first pick, although I still do like it for Rupertion, but just given how both of these players did on something like the DT1, I was really eyeing that one up. It's not banned, and Azer notably struggled very much with the AR, I think, on that map in yesterday's match versus Marwin, dropping like 80% accuracy, 100k score, and Rupertion did lose that point to Pink Eye Fan. Pink Eye Fan almost getting the full combo, but I mean, still almost 450,000 points for that DT1. I was really thinking it was going to be that pick, but just saving that one for later, I think.
Yeah, the DT1 looks pretty good. The Hard Rock 3 looks pretty good. The DT2 hasn't seen much play, but it's been a very low scoring map overall, aside from non-cycle, so I feel like that would also be pretty good here. But we'll see how many of those tapping maps Frankie is willing to go into. Probably not the Hidden 3, given Azer actually outscored him on that. With the double tap gambit. It's no odd one, though. I mean, this is what you get. You get some big jumps, and that's about all you get. And you get apparently one under aim there for Rupertion going into the slow section. So 200 combo lead for Azer, and no FC intact for Frankie now, with quite a lot of free combo here.
Yeah, this map is a difficult one. It's pretty aim intensive, but the jumps are pretty massive, especially at the end of the map. I mean, for the most part, all the jumps are either close to, if not actually full screen jumps, so it is going to be very easy to find mistakes here. Azer's doing solid work to hold on to the FC into this first TI section, but this is the spot where I think we could see either of these players fall apart, and Azer is going to drop that combo finally now, giving a little bit of space for Rupertion to start to build back up into this with the combo that he has gotten on the recovery.
Yeah, very well done from Frankie to hold through that PI time. See how long he can continue holding this combo, though. This is definitely a map where your combo can leave at basically any time. Every single jump during this section is still such high spacing, so it is possible to miss basically anywhere. The score lead is minuscule at the moment. And there's actually both of them just missing on a random pattern, not during a PI time, because all of this map is just so difficult. There's such high spacing on basically everything in this map. And now we have a very tenuous situation for both of these players. 11k score lead for Frankie. Slight act lead, slight Super 2 combo lead for Azer going into now the third PI time. Both of these players know Frankie actually missing on the first set of cross screens. Azer holding on, but this score lead moving very slowly. Only now is that 11k score lead starting to switch over to his side. But if he does not actually make it through the KI time with combo intact. The 100 combo lead back to Frankie now. Not even a 100 combo lead, not even a 2500 score lead for Frankie. The accuracy, I think, enough to swing things when the combo lead is so small here. But neither player having any trouble with the ACK. It's all down to this last KI time now, Lily.
Yeah, we are keeping this one as close and as a nail biter as possible here. Azer finding that miss is so inopportune timing for him. The score did just barely flicker over towards Azer, I think, right before he missed, and then it's now back in the hands of Frankie into the final KI section. But yeah, there's a little bit of build-up before we get there, just ever so slightly, but the end section is so brutal. It could be so easy to fall apart here, and now we get into this last PI. Both players hit the jumps leading into it, but this is the cross-screen jumps that I was talking about. These players are hitting them, but no player's making a mistake. Accuracy's still in favor of Azer, and the score is still in favor of Rupertion all the way up until the very end. One mistake can end it all for one of these two players, but still both players are holding on. They're hitting the end jumps, and they both make it through. Frankie gets the point.
That's the point for Rupertion. Wow, what an ending. Both of them just clutch up and hit everything in the last KI time. No problems for either of them. Wow, that just favors the player ever so slightly ahead in the combo at the end of the map. It's Rupertion taking the lead at the end of it all and winning out on that point. Very good scores, though, from both of these players. Rupertion number 2 overall on the weekend. Everyone and their mother getting gapped by non-cycles 830k on this. That's a crazy run. And Azer at 482k, still quite a solid score, still ahead of 4 other players who played this weekend.
Yeah, I mean, it's so hard to look at either of the scores and be like, yeah, one of these players made more mistakes than the other, because like at the end of the day, it was just ever so slightly in favor of Rupertion. It could have very easily been Azer's point there. It could have very easily been a break point, but it's Rupertion coming out on top on their first pick, so it's pretty solid performance from both players. But yeah, 1-1 now, and Azer's got a couple of options. The Hidden 4, you know, we brought that one up. There's also the Nomad 4, which is potentially a good choice for him as well. Looking at some of the other stuff, nothing's really screaming out. Maybe the Nomad 3 potentially. I know he did pretty solid on that one.
He had actually one of the lower scores of the weekend so far. There's been 5 people who have played this, and Azer's number 4 of 5 on that map.
Ooh.
The Nomad 5, he's number 1 on the weekend so far. The Nomad 4, he's number 1 on the weekend so far. But it's going to be that Nomad 3, as you said. That said, the variance on this Nomad 3 is so low. I mean, the best score is 500k, and Azer's score on this is 440k. So, like, the variance on this has been very low this weekend. So I feel like this is still probably fine. At that, I think 440k is maybe a bit of a low roll for Azer on something like this. Now, Rupertion with the opportunity to take a break point, though. I think if it were something like the Nomad 4, where Azer is number 1 and Rupertion is number 6 on the map with a 260k score difference, I'm not looking at a break point possibility. But on something like this, yeah, I think it's still possible for a break point to happen. Let's see how it goes.
Definitely possibility here for these two players. I do think I would give slight advantage towards Azer, but I mean, again, it could very easily just be a repeat of the last map that we saw, where it's just neck and neck all the way to the very end. But we'll see. This one's got a lot of back and forth wiggles. It's very easy to get tripped up on your aim, just over aim, under aim something just ever so slightly and miss the pattern. We'll see how these players fare.
Okay, there's actually the first break to come through, and it is for Azer. Drops that combo during this first intro HI time. Now we're into kind of the breakdown afterwards. It's going to be Rupertion to drop after on a lot of these cut double streams that are just relentless in this map. This map just never stops with tough patterns all over the place, but you do get some reprieve during these sections. There's just fewer tough patterns chained together. as part of a larger, even more difficult pattern. But Rupertion still feeling a little uncomfortable, it seems like, on some of these transitions from the cut patterns into the big snap aim stuff that comes afterwards. And Azer recovering really, really well, keeping the accuracy high as well into this second PI time now.
Doing really solid work right now. Really good accuracy as well, 99.4%. These cut streams are particularly nasty, and as you said, the map is pretty much just full send all the way until the end. It doesn't really give up any point, so there is still plenty of time for mistakes to happen, but 100,000 points, and Rupertion is continuing to find mistakes here and there. It's not helping him out here as we cross the halfway mark. Azer continuing to hold on to the score lead and the full combo.
And to think our playtesters were worried about this map being too easy.
Oh, no way. Absolutely not.
No, I don't think so. Yeah, this is looking to be a much better score for Azer this time around as compared to his previous run on this map this weekend. And well, as soon as I say that, does find a miss there, but is still holding the 99, is still up above 400k with a quarter of the map left to go. And yeah, this is looking pretty good for the old man. Looking pretty good for one of the OWC organizers, by the way. Why is this guy organizing instead of playing for Canada? Unlucky.
Oh, he's still doing organizing for the.
Oh yeah.
Oh goodness. You guys are getting a little unlucky here. Gonna be a couple more mistakes in the end. Yeah, Azer is going to get this point. The players winning out on their own picks so far in this match. Rupertion's point was a little bit closer than I think he would have liked it to be, but still going to be pretty solid for both players. And 320,000 points is a pretty good score on this, but Azer did improve upon his score. In fact, getting one of the higher scores now, I think, on the map, right? You said it was like 540,000 or something was the highest score?
502k was there. The best score on the map.
Oh, so yeah, just best.
That is the top score on the map this weekend.
There you go. Azer getting it done.
Which is crazy. This is actually the lowest and highest score on the map this weekend in the same lobby right here. Which tells you how low the variance on this map is. Pretty much everything was clustered between 350k and 450k, with a couple of outliers, one below and two above.
Pretty solid improvement here for Azer. Rupertion's got an option to answer back now, and it is going to be that DT1. I do really like the prospects of this pick for Rupertion because Azer did not look comfortable on this map at all. Now, he might have practiced it a bit more. I'm not sure how much practice he actually put into this DT1 pick prior to his matchup versus Marwin yesterday, but I'm not sure if it's going to be that much better than what we saw in that matchup yesterday. It's just it's the AR 10.5 here on this map, I think, is what really comes down to, because that is a skill set that you do kind of have to hone, and I don't think Azer's necessarily known for high AR stuff.
Yeah, no, not really. And it's one of those skills that if you have it, you have it, and if you don't, you're not really going to be able to practice it all that much unless you just memorize whatever map it is that you have to play that weekend. And this is one of those that is long enough, I think, you don't really get to memorize it. And you can see just from the cursor trail how uncomfortable Azer is on this approach rate. Now, Rupertion's trail doesn't betray a ton of confidence either, but definitely a lot more than Azer's. And it's also very evident in the accuracy here. Honestly, this is just a very, very good pick into Azer this weekend. This DT1 is absolutely not his, and you can see it in these PI times as well. There's a couple of picks in this pool that are really his, that he has dominated all weekend, and then there's some like this one where he is just not doing it.
Yeah, pretty tough map to have to play if it's not a comfort voice for you. The Air 10.5 is particularly brutal. Even like 10.3 for some players is still going to be uncomfortable, but when you get to that 10.5, it definitely is pretty testing on your skills and double time. Rupertion is just making this one pretty easy for this second point here. It's going to be pretty much guaranteed. I don't think there's going to be any chance for Azer to get back into this, but Azer is, I think, actually already getting above his score from his match versus Marwin. I think he had like 130k in that one. So
yeah, he had
still an improvement. Yeah, still an improvement. At least for now. Bar any like disasters in the end.
Yeah, the score is not really going up in this section, but you know, it's not going down. So there we go. Yeah, not much more to say in this section. Let's just see how solid Frankie's score is on this map. And then we'll move on to the next pick. As honestly, neither of these players having that great of a time on this. Even Frankie's score on this is not that impressive. This is one of the easier maps in the pool this weekend. And I think Frankie actually not beating his old score of 447k. The average score on this is 590k this weekend, and we have had a one miss choke at the end from Pink Eye Fan, as well as a one slider break choke with 99.4 act from Non-Cycle. So this is one of those maps that is actually FCable in this pool. So neither of these players having all that great of a time, but Rupertion still leagues above Azer in terms of comfort on this map, and so easily wins the point there on the DT1. Very good pick for him.
Yeah, definitely to be expected on that pick. You do kind of have to just let one or two maps get through that, like maybe you're just really not fond of, because you do only get those two bans, right? And you can't leave Nomad 2 or DT3 up versus Rupertion. That guy's a shredder. That dude will mess those maps up completely. He'll destroy them and make them look easy, but now is the hidden 4 pick, and now is Azer's chance to answer back.
And this was coming at some point, right? I was piss break for everyone again. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. If DT1 is one of those maps where, you know, one player is just really, really rough on it, really does not have a good time with it, and so the other can, you know, just kind of play it, take it easy on it, doesn't have to worry about losing. This is one where one player is so ridiculously good at it that everyone else in the tournament just gets gapped. That's this map. And the player that's really good at it is Azer. 740k on his first run on this map. The next best score of the weekend so far is Rupertion at 460k. He's also the only other player to get above 400k so far this entire weekend on this map. Shadow Castle has an average score of 320k this weekend so far, with 11 people having played it. And it's no surprise why. This is a really, really tough map with some absolutely demon in-control streams with Hidden added on. And both of these players are actually quite good at this. It's just that Azer is, well, he's the best at it.
Yeah, definitely one of the names that comes to mind when you think of people who are in contention for being the best at this style of a map. Azer's kind of honed his craft with this kind of a map, so I do expect him to perform pretty high again. Can we expect another near FC 700k? Probably not, but I mean, heck, he might just get it done again. We'll see. Christian with the earlier miss. Azer does end up dropping just now, though, so is not going to have the combo all the way up to the end like he had in yesterday's match. And Christian's actually keeping this one close as Azer finds a couple more mistakes. Now that score is going to switch over pretty soon.
Yeah, there goes the combo break for Rupertion, and now, I mean, things have evened out quite a bit. So Azer not finding that pop-off run that he had earlier when it matters here against an opponent of similar caliber on this Hidden 4 means that things are now very, very close. But there's another chain miss for Rupertion, and that instantly adds about 20k to the score lead for Azer, now growing even further with a bigger combo lead up to about 320 combo for Azer. Hack lead up above 1.5% as well with that chain miss for Rupertion. And now into the second half of this map. Couple of sliders here in this section before we get into an even streamier part of the map to end things off in the last quarter. Neither player having any trouble during this section. It's once we get into this next stream section here that you can start to see a lot of those chain misses come up once again. But both players holding for now into the last quarter of the map.
Yeah, the wiggles just start to get so intense in this section, and neither player's faltered just yet, but still Azer's holding on to about 300 more combo over Frankie here, who has done pretty solid work to get the recovery back, but the accuracy is still better for Azer by about 1.5% almost, 1.2. Still now, this is the hardest section, and Rupertion is going to be the first one to fall in this section. Azer does end up dropping a pretty big chain miss, as well as a little bit of the accuracy drop as well, but I mean, 100,000 points, I think, is enough for him, but if we keep finding misses like this, we're going to keep it a little bit closer. I do think, though, this is going to be the point for Azer. Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, it is definitely over. And Azer going to be taking that one once again, setting a score better than anybody else has so far this weekend on the map. It's not going to show up in the stats, but average over 650k for Azer, or right under 650k on this map. Playing it twice this weekend is really, really solid. Very well done to him. And Rupertion, to his credit, also the only other person to get above 400k, and did it twice in a row on this map this weekend. So both of these players definitively the best two on that map, but Azer definitively the best, and by a pretty decent margin. Yeah,
I mean, that was a strong back-to-back picks for both of these two players, the DT1 and to the Hidden 4. For each player respectively, definitely are two of the picks for each player to be kind of like sweeping the other one on, although this one was a little bit closer than the DT1 was, but still, though, we're going to move forward here. Rupertion's third pick. We got Hard Rock 1 now. This is just aim. We're going back to aim.
He's just picked 3 aim maps in a row. He's just picked all of the aim maps in a row. I don't know why he's picking all of the aim maps in a row instead of picking speed. Like, you're allowed to speed abuse your opponent. It's not BM or anything. That's just tournaments. I don't know if he's just not warmed up or not feeling it or what, but definitely not what I expected for this match, at the very least. It's going to be Tsunami by Bambi Thug, custom from little known tournament Ostworld Cup last year. Kuroshiki aim, which is a lot of wide angle jumps and anti-aim patterns, but kind of disguised with how the new combos work out. Looks a lot more comfortable, and it is also very high spacing. Also CS 5.85 after Hard Rock on this map. There's a lot of very low spacing stuff in between the key eyes, and there's a lot of very high spacing stuff during the key eyes, as well as a demon stream about 3/4 of the way in, plus a ridiculously high spacing aim section right before the end of the map in that last quarter.
Yeah, pretty important to hold on to as much combo as you can up until that last key eye. That's where things do really start to fall apart for players. Mistakes do start to come out a lot more, but hey, we are seeing a couple of trades already thus far on the very first few notes of the match. That's going to be keeping things pretty even. Accuracy-wise, it's pretty even as well, but Azer going to be dropping combo once more in this beginning section. It's fine. It's still early enough in that it won't make too big of a difference, but yeah, that combo, again, you really do want to hold on to as much as you can, so maybe this will hurt Azer a little bit in the long run.
Yeah, I mean, this is some free combo right here for Rupertion. So definitely going to help a little bit. And it's 15k with basically free score during this first quarter of the map. And let's see if that extra combo helps out. It's already a good 20k of free score. And now into the Ki time as Azer finds a miss right at the start, finds another couple of misses there, and Rupertion's still FCing this Hard Rock 1. Just not having, does actually find a miss there. I saw a little bit of bounciness on that cursor on one of those anti-aim patterns where you just have to stop in the middle of a super high spacing jump pattern. It did end up biting Rupertion there. Found a break afterwards, but not after Not before accruing 75k in score lead, and another miss from Azer during these slow sections. Just really not having these higher AR aim picks, especially in the DT, but also in the Hard Rock.
Yeah, Rupertion is putting on a pretty good showing here. About 100,000 points now, 90,000 over Azer going into this last third of the map. Here's the big jumps again, and both players do hit them going into this next PI, but still this PI spacing is so massive it could be very easy to miss a couple of notes here or there, drop the combo, and the map gets even harder coming in about like 20-ish seconds or so. Azer is going to be dropping that combo first now, and again, continuing to further score lead is Rupertion, and this one might be gone already for Azer.
Yeah, and even with that miss for Rupertion, I think it just does not matter. This ending is just so difficult, and Azer does not have any combo even going into the section, let alone breaking during the section. It is already over, and Rupertion going to be taking it by a pretty decent margin, 150k in his favor here. Not the best score that we have seen this weekend. That honor goes to Zex with 530k on the map. But the second best score of the weekend here for Rupertion. Looking to be above 500k by the end of the map here. Doesn't lose any ACK on that stream and does indeed close it out above 500k. Very well done. 9k off of Zek's score. Azer, not actually, unfortunately, that's the bottom score of the weekend for Azer on that map. So not necessarily a bad score. It's pretty close to a lot of the other scores that we have seen so far this weekend. But is not going to be having the best of times on that Hard Rock 1. And instead, Rupertion putting up a very solid score on this map, tying things up 3-3. And funnily enough, the aim abuse working out very well in this match for Rupertion.
Yeah, I mean, he's been sticking with his guns here, picking all the aim maps so far. There's still the hidden one that's more awkward aim, but I mean, if he wants to, he definitely still can pick another hit aim map after this. Although that is to say you're picking hidden into Azer. But we've seen that work out for some other picks as well. The hidden 3 is available. If we do actually want to break open the doors of the speed and the tapping, we'll see. I think this is Azer's pick though? Yeah, Azer's pick, and it's the No Mod 4.
Yeah, no surprises here. Azer has the best score on No Mod 4 of the weekend so far. Has a better score than Rupertion by a good 260k, almost double his score. So this is, yeah, very good pick for Azer. I think I'd be hard pressed to find a better pick on paper in this pool than this No Mod 4. And just kind of vibes of both of the players, right? Knowing what both of these players like to play, what they are good at. Tech for Azer is one of his best skill sets. Rupertion not necessarily bad at tech in the grand scheme of things, but definitely not something that he has typically an advantage on against a lot of people in tournaments. So this sort of pick works out very well for Azer just by virtue of being a strong tech player.
Yeah, I think older players will remember the times of old when Azer had a goal of FCing. I think it was he wanted to FC every single ranked Camellia map, and then that just started to get too much to ask for. There just started to be way too many pretty ridiculously difficult maps. But I mean, Azer's made a name for himself as loving tech and being really good at it. Drop the first combo though for Azer. Did just slightly misread one of the sliders, and the slider tick caught him up. It's pretty early on. There's still time to recover that combo. The map is relatively difficult. It's a lot of these big sliders in the beginning section. Starts to be a lot more starts and stops towards the end of the map. But for the time being, it is Frankie holding on to the score advantage.
What
yeah, I don't know how he hit that.
I don't know how he hit that save, but that was kind of incredible. Azer finding another drop, actually, and that save is just massively benefiting Frankie right now. Azer dropping once again. Frankie does finally find a miss. I think just over-aimed the corner there on that cut stream, but not before getting up a 40,000 score lead. Does find another slider break there. Accuracy in favor of Azer. This is moving back his way, but not very quickly, especially with so many combo breaks just kind of all over the place coming through for Azer here. Both players now on effectively 0 combo. 30k score lead for Rupertion, 1% act lead for Azer.
A very minor combo lead going into this little free combo section. This is about as much free combo as you're going to be allotted in this map. The end of this map is particularly brutal. If you are able to get even just a little bit extra combo going into this section, it's pretty nice for your end score, but Azer's going to have to do a lot here. Expect to see some more misses from Rupertion if he wants to get the score lead back. It's 20,000 points, but it's barely moving the way of Azer.
There's another break for Azer. Rupertion comboing again, just finding this massive combo. And it's not even like a huge act gaming moment, right? He's still within 1% of Azer. Does finally drop the combo. Azer does have a little bit of combo here going into the ending. The score lead is not big. Another side break to come through for Rupertion, and now it's suddenly only down to 20k from 35k in very short order. Now down to 10k, and Azer still holding this combo. The score lead coming back even quicker, and Frankie just giving it up at the end of the map. Too many misses too quickly, and all at once at the end of the map, and Azer holding combo just barely into the ending. The act drop there actually almost gave it back to Frankie, but that was way too close for comfort. 2,500 points in Azer's favor. S rank to A rank, but the comboing from Frankie was just so good throughout so much of that map that it almost overwrote that S rank from Azer and almost gave us what would probably be one of the most important breakpoints of this match. Instead, it's just another point on the board for Azer. I don't know if my heart can handle that one. That was honestly crazy to watch. Azer being able to pull out that combo at the very end when he needed it the most, even finding the miss like on the last couple of notes of the map. I saw that score flicker just for a second. I think it was like 5,000, and then it dropped down to 2,000 at the very end. It was very close to going the way of Rupertion, and if it did, I've seen this so many times this weekend across multiple tournaments, but like in a best of 11, when you are 3-3, if you give up that break point, you're really fighting for it for the rest of the match, because you are down that 4-3 on the break point, and then they get the chance to consolidate, and then they're at match point, and you need to win 2 picks in a row and the tiebreaker. Like, that's not a great spot to be in, so Azer had to win that. Yeah, exactly. Especially with the very predictable Hard Rock 3 coming out for Rupertion immediately afterwards. This is another one of those picks that on paper looks extremely good. Now, we saw in the Nomad 4 exactly how much on paper means sometimes, but this is quite literally top score on the map versus bottom score on the map so far this weekend, with Rupertion having the best score at 530k and Azer having the worst so far at 364k. And can you blame him? It is a 190 BPM death stream map basically in the first half, with the second half still being some somewhat long streams accompanied by some very short high spacing bursts. So yeah, it's a pretty tough map for Azer, who famously does not like tapping, does not like streams, does not like speed, versus Rupertion, who famously is one of the best hard rock and hidden hard rock specifically stream players, not just in Canada, but in the world. Especially a few years ago, this guy was absolutely tearing it up on basically every high star rating stream map with hidden hard rock. So this is something that is right up his alley.
Yeah, I mean, literally almost every single stream map, like, you look at the leaderboards, and Rupertion probably has either a HCHR FC on it or something close to that. The dude is really solid at this skill set. And granted, he's not allowed the hidden comfort. I do think he prefers the hidden hard rock over just the hard rock, but he's still pretty good at this. This is going to be important for Azer to try his best to keep Rupertion at bay with this one. Try to mitigate a lot of chain misses, and Rupertion's actually going to be the first one to fall. Not going to be a chain miss, but does actually drop the accuracy pretty heavily in this beginning section.
Yeah, I don't know if they switched slots or something, but there's 100 FC for Azer and 97 AC with a miss for Rupertion right now. So it's certainly not going the way you would expect it to at the beginning of the map, based again on paper and on what we know about the players and what they're usually liking to play and what they're usually good on. And again, another miss on the Buzz Slider transition section there for Rupertion. Azer finally finds a drop of his own just at the end of that section, plus on a Buzz Slider a little bit later. So this 4 lead is going to start to come back the way of Rupertion. And Azer, as this map goes on, it seems is just losing a little bit more stamina at a time. Now down to a 50k score lead in Azer's favor. 98% for both of these players, but 200 combo lead for Rupertion, and the score lead going down pretty quickly, now down to 40k, now down to about 35k, and it will keep coming so long as Rupertion can hold through these 5-note bursts. This section is notoriously difficult, and it's Azer instead who finds the miss. The high spacing in this section is so tricky. Both of these players find the drop. It's another big chain miss for Azer, though, and Rupertion is able to hold, and there's a huge chain miss and chain act drop for Azer, now down to 94% and an 80k score lead for Rupertion. And this is the part of the map that really separates the men from the boys, and Rupertion, man, is full grown. He's got chest hair and all from years of hidden hard rock stream farm. This is the part of the map where he thrives.
Yeah, he was bred for this exact moment here. Rupertion gets it done, tie things up, 4-4, albeit a little bit of a jump scare with the accuracies being what they were to begin with. But I mean, we saw this in Azer's match versus Marwin yesterday. He pretty much did the same thing, right? He comboed the beginning pretty well, but once it started to get a little bit more space, the stream started to be more continuous with less downtime, he really started to falter. So yeah, Rupertion, the consistency really came in clutch for him there.
I just want to address something in the lobby chat right now. Rupertion says bottom local XD. His bottom local apparently is still better than literally everyone else in the tournament. The next best score on this is Pink Eye Fan 474k. So his bottom local on this is still better than literally everyone else in the tournament. Somebody please level up the Canada Space Stream game once again, because we need it.
Yeah, definitely somebody needs to step up. We need more Space Stream players in the Canadian scene.
I need somebody who's not 28 years old to start playing that skill set, please and thank you. Don't make me do it. I don't have the hands for that anymore.
As a fellow 28-year-old, I also do not have the hands for that anymore.
Yeah, exactly.
And I'm not even from
possible,
Canada,
but you
man.
know,
So like,
it's a little rough.
that's a double no.
All right, no mod 5 for Azer. This is another one of those on-paper picks that I think should be pretty good. We don't have any information about how Rupertion does on this kind of map, but Azer so far is the top scorer of the weekend at 430k on this. So we'll see if he can keep that record intact here, or if Rupertion will steal the title from him. This is an interesting pick. I want to see what else is left in the pool here. This is the last no mod. Hidden 1 and 3 are both still up. Hard Rock 4 is up. I'm a little surprised that it's the no mod 5 over the Hard Rock 4 for Azer, but maybe just a preference thing. This is Devious Panda, it's Iljaz. It's a very tricky map with a ton of kind of everything. A lot of aim, a decent amount of tapping difficulty in this at 207 BPM as well. A lot of tricky snap aim control in this map on some of the slider portions with these kind of double snaps into a slider that form a really weird looking triple. It's a tough map. It's got a lot going on. It's like a tiebreaker, but it's 3 minutes instead of 5. So there's just a lot packed into this map and this song.
Yeah, tons of skill sets tested in this one. I think Azer looked particularly good on this, as you said, and we haven't seen Rupertion play this one yet, so it's a bit of a question mark. Already starting us off with a very early miss isn't really that big of a deal, especially with Azer trading shortly after. So, yeah, these players I do think have the potential to, Rupertion in particular, I do think he has the potential to get this break point, but it's going to be a tough one. Azer does kind of have to lock in here if he wants to secure his match point.
Well, so far the combo lead for Rupertion not bearing much fruit, but now the combo lead itself growing once again, and larger trees bear more fruit. That score lead now starting to shape up a little bit here for Rupertion. The accuracy going down for Azer also helping that. Azer was on some mid-high 99 accuracy before, now just on the 99 flat, which is pretty close to Rupertion. And Rupertion, this FC is doing some work right now. The score lead up to 50k. That said, the recovery combo is here for Azer. And so now, I mean, these two are just absolutely popping off. There's another miss, though, for Azer. Misaims the start of that stream and then misaims the end of it as well on the recovery. And now Rupertion is just absolutely killing this map. This is a massive score lead, massive combo lead for Rupertion. It's FC to nothing right now, halfway through. 99 act to 98 for Rupertion, 170k score lead. Not going to be getting up to the double score mark because it finally does drop a miss, but I mean, 160k score lead on this is absolutely massive. Less than half the map to go.
I mean, the spot where he found the miss too was pretty inopportune. It was right about in the middle of the map, just a little bit past that point too. And now if he does find any more misses, I mean, Azer could have been in potential for getting the score lead back, but Azer's actually still continuing to struggle to hold on to the combo. It's getting to him, I think, a little bit here. The further this match goes, it's really starting to set in that he is not necessarily as comfortable on this map as Rupertion might be. I mean, Rupertion looks so solid right now, almost double the score, right? But still going to be making a couple of mistakes, both players, all the way up until the very end, and I think this is a break point for Rupertion.
Yeah, I mean, 100% it's the break point for Rupertion. This score lead has stayed put at about 170k ever since it got there. So very, very solid stuff from him. Unfortunately for Azer, I think it's a pretty big underperformance on this run. Maybe his other run's just a huge overperformance. You never know. But goes down to, this is actually the second bottom score of the weekend on this map. So had a bit of a rough run this time around compared to his other run. We know he can do a lot better than that, but that said, Rupertion still beating out even Azer's other run by a good 65k. So this is just best score of the weekend for Rupertion. Really, really solid score, near that 500k mark. And Azer, even if he had a similar run as his last one, still wouldn't have won this. So, you know, you can't know if it's a mispick or not beforehand, I think, because something like this is so multi-skill set that if you're a decently well-rounded player, you're probably going to be able to play it pretty well. And both of these players definitely fit that bill. Azer having already topped the leaderboards, but it's just hard to predict exactly how something like that will go between these two. And clearly on this day, this time, Frankie just way better on that run. And now, hidden 3, DT2? DT2 still up. I think you just go DT2 if you're Frankie here.
Yeah, I mean, I was kind of questioning DT2, but the more I look at it, it really does feel like such a good pick to seal the deal here. Azer dropping the breakpoint at the very end does not feel good at all. You are at the mercy of Rupertion, who had the hidden one. He's got the hidden 3, and he had the DT2, but the hidden one, we're going back to aim, Dio.
Oh my, he's picked aim 4 times! Okay, I mean, look, he's just picking the 4th aim map. I get it. It does work. But I'm very surprised that it's not just the DT2. He's on the aim train today. What can I say? Apparently Azer doesn't like this map, so he's not having a good time with his pick. Regardless, That said, I do think he's got a better chance at something like this than on the DT2. So I think I can be happy with that at least.
Yeah, I'm surprised we don't see the hidden 3. I know Azer got a respectable score on that in yesterday's match, but still he had to double tap the streams for the most part, and I do think Rupertion would be more than comfortable on that, but maybe just felt like the hidden 1 was really calling to him. I mean, the dude's been loving aim today.
Yeah.
So close it out with some aim potentially.
Well, early days, a couple of misses here from Rupertion at the start. Act drops for both of these players, down to 94, 95. But not too much to write home about the very early misses here. Less than 100 combo lead for Azer. Shouldn't matter all that much in a map this long. And that's why, because a single chain miss on a stream like that can instantly shift the score lead over. That said, Rupertion immediately gives up the combo lead again right afterwards. So all completely even out, score, combo, everything, all completely even. There's another miss at the end of that first PI time for Azer though. And now we get a little bit more of Rupertion with a combo lead, building up some score with that Ack lead and Ack advantage, trying to close this out. Again, this is match point for Rupertion. If he wins this, he knocks Azer out of the tournament in top 8 and moves on to the top 6. He loses this, we go to tiebreaker for the first time since round of 16. Personally, what I'm hoping for.
It's been that long?
Yes, we haven't had any tiebreakers in quarterfinals or semifinals. We've had one tiebreaker all tournament.
Azer, it's time to lock in, buddy. Let's get the tiebreaker to close things out. Please? Last PI.
Oh, no. All right. Well, we jinxed it. And that is going to give the win to Frankie, I think. That slider break for Azer means Frankie is going to be taking it. And, yeah, tiebreaker odds are looking bleak. Azer's odds are looking bleak as we come into the last quarter of the map with combo not just intact, but thriving for Frankie. The score lead increasing so fast in his favor. And this map is a wrap. This match is a wrap. Frankie winning this map by a massive score margin at the end here. Finally finds a break right before the end of the map, but a good 300,000 point lead. That's a healthy score lead for Frankie there, and a 6-4 win off the back of that massive 300k lead on the hidden 1.
Hey, I mean, he came into it picking the aim, he ended it picking the aim, and he got it done. 6-4. That's a GG well played to both players. Azer will be exiting the tournament in the top 8 spot. Rupertion moving forward into the finals losers bracket in top 6. And yeah, that's gonna do it for us, I think, for this weekend. That was the last match.
Indeed it was. So that is now the bracket decided. Winners finals going to be Nujabes versus Wandirio. In the losers bracket, we have Birchman versus Rupertion and Rumi versus Non-Cycle, with the winner of that moving up into the losers bracket finals. This is going to be an interesting couple of matches that we have left for the rest of the bracket. So I'm looking forward to the rest of the bracket and the finals weekend. In the meantime, that's it for us for now. We're going to be back in just a few minutes with the finals map pool showcase. So don't go anywhere. Grab a drink, grab some snacks. We'll be right back very soon with that finals map pool showcase. Thanks for watching. Thanks, Lily, for casting. See you all soon.
Take care, guys.